Hello ladies, hello gentlemen, welcome to Have the Race Gone for round 7 of the Nukeshot Endurance Series Season 5. We're at Tokyo for the South Outer Loop. First time that particular layout has been featured here on the channel. A very, very difficult race it's looking to be. And since we've been running a little underpopulated for 2 splits, it's actually looking like we'll be having a combined Pro-Am split full of cars. Certainly gonna be nice to see Mr. Safety Car here behind the mic as well. Most certainly about to be a busy man, unless Tetsu's gonna be doing it. Oh, Maverick properly dead through that chicane. Of course, you're having my evening coffee, getting ready, and there's a bit of a pile-up here as well with Sailor the Norwegian getting stuck. The Audi R18 non-hybrid looking to be pretty competitive around here. It's a very high-speed track indeed. It's good through the fast corners, has a massive top speed. His wake has a little bit of a touch to that outside wall. We have the Mad Greek in chat as well. Hello, CJ. Hello, Maverick as well. Nice to have you along. The VLX lads. And we are indeed merging Pro and Am lobbies for this one. And that is certainly gonna make this race a lot more interesting. Which means we're gonna have Pro and Am LMPs, Pro and Am GTs as well. It's all gonna be it's gonna be an interesting one. Evening, Mikey. Erebus, it is. I'm also can you hear me with my hands making this sound? Excitement it is. It has been a while, Mikey. It's nice to have you along. Ever the pleasure. So we're expecting a full lobby actually tonight. That's gonna be very, very nice to see. Talking points about this track as well. The pit lane is very strange. It's in the middle of the track basically, and it's very short, and it's in this parking lot. So that's the strange pit, the strangest pit lane in the game, I think I can say for certain. Bambi, hello, nice to have you along as well, and by that I will totally agree. I think we shall see plenty of insane LMP dives into those sweeping S's after turn 1 in that first sector. Indeed known to be a very, very, very difficult sector. Indeed, here is Rotary of the G4 squad in the Calsonic Nissan. Then we've seen ERT Ben or Swablu. Also, start is going to be a normal rolling start. The pace car, the safety car, is going to hop off. Oh. It's going to park up, I think, down here in the hairpin. And then go into the pits afterwards. Although I'm not quite sure. But Joe's gonna be explaining the start procedure in lobby, which is a good one. Because I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure as well. But, what we shall do is try and see if I can find updated championship standings. Although I'm not really sure that they're up to date. Nope, that's those from the last round. So I'm not gonna bother with those. Of course, people involved with this are having lives on the side as well, so no love lost in the fact that sometimes something doesn't get done to the date. We've still got Sailor in that Audi R18 in the provisional fastest time, at least here for this lobby. It will be interesting to see how the AM LMPs compare to the time set here, and then the GTs as well. Here is Rama, having a bit of a nudgy moment with the wall. We're gonna have Aston's racing as well for the Arrows racing team. That's nice to see GTO back with us again as well. That's the virtual endurance team, the virtual endurance racing team. With the Hyundai, the Genesis, a car that's also not been featured, at least here in the pro ranks before. So we're gonna be following that closely. As mentioned earlier, the GTR, the Calsonic GTR as well. I parked up Joe and then rest of the drivers at the moment in the pit lanes. In the pit lanes. So I think we can safely say this one is gonna be an open race, and it's a race where it really isn't over until the big engine screams. It isn't over until the first car has reached the checkered flag. That is certainly for sure, because what we've seen before with these Tokyo races, and that's been on the other layout, and that's been difficult enough for the drivers to deal with traffic-wise. There really isn't a lot of space. We have these heavy braking zones, and partnered with the narrow track and the speed of most of the corners. It's some very fast corners indeed. Doesn't make for many lines around. Makes it very, very, very difficult for the LMPs to judge their overtaking. And as Bambi mentioned in chat, it makes for some humongous sense at times. Of course, a lot of patience as well required, but too much patience, well, if someone else gets it right, it might lose you the race in the end. Of course, as always, in the NES, it's tires times 3, fuel times 2. And I'm actually a little bit in doubt whether it's that way around or the other way around. So, tires times 3, fuel times 2. At least I'm right. But it's gonna be an interesting one indeed. I think the 919, the TSR Porsche of Wake, the Ben & Jerry's machine, might be finding it hard to deal with the high top speed requirements here at Tokyo, as we're seeing just a couple of tenths off the pace of both Maverick and Sailor, in turn very, very close here in practice at the top of standings. And behind, it's Orama. In the Rebellion Toyota, I guess. Hello, Martin. Morten. Welcome, mate. It's good to have you along. Your presence, as always, is appreciated. It goes to any one of you, every one of you. And a very good evening, a very good Sunday evening. I do hope that the weekend, for all your sakes, has been an enjoyable one. So this is the point from where the drivers will allow to hit the loud pedal when coming around for the formation lap. Got Joe of the Fire parked at the moment. Sailor seemingly on a good pace. A 117 dead here in practice. That is certainly not bad at all. Truly a strange pit lane. Here we see it. Entrance. Boop, and then in. Going in the parking lot. And then right out again. Direct. Is that exit? That's direct. Indeed. Here the lovely black and orange sponsored arrows. Aston Martin going the long way around on Wybear, I think that was. Certainly was. The Indonesian driver for Nukeshot Motorsports. Their Toyota FT1s. Seems to have been suffering from both physics changes to the game and from the recent BOP settings. Perhaps fairly enough. That is usually the case of having a car that's OP for some period of time. Because, to be honest, it was a little bit overpowered when we ran the last season, Season 4. But it's certainly been hit with the judicial hammer of the POP system. It's been nerfed big time, and it's nowhere near the levels of dominance that we've seen last season. Here's Sailor, the Norwegian, in the Audi. Hit again. Just how low to the ground that R18 is. Sparks flying about. Oh, a little bit of contact, I think, to the insides of... Oh, and then in the curb. And the barrier as well. With the rear end of the car. And that's that qualifying lap done with for Sailor. The carnage, Erebus, the carnage, it's gonna be real. Maverick indeed, it is going to be, it's going to be heavy indeed. I'm just gonna go fetch me a little bit more water, because I'm getting cotton mouth here, which is no good for commentating. But I'll leave you with the warm-up laps here for the GT qualifying session. I'll be back in less than a minute. So we are live with GT qualifying, 2 minutes gone. That means 8 of the 10 minutes left that we have allocated for both classes, or for each of the classes, so to say, because of course it is a bit more than that. We did separate the class qualifyings because we found that quite a number of flying laps would be hampered by the traffic. There's Joe of the Fire, comes round to complete a lap very close to Rotary. Bear now, provisional pole 131.1. That's very competitive indeed. And it's of course, it's Rotary in the Nissan. We have James of the Arrows team in the Aston Martin, the AM Aston. Very nice, I have to say. Very good looking car. Joe of the Fire pits in for a fresh set of tires. Apple with us? Yes! The mud to end all muds. He's finally with us. He has honored us all with his presence. His chimness is amongst them all, amongst us all, for us to bathe in all of its glory. No, mate, I'm sure it's gonna be a great show with the increased number of cars on track. And I think if we're looking at being able to fit the entire field that shows up on race day into one lobby for the rest of the season, very good way of going on about it. So Joe of the Fire, our reigning champion, on another outlap, third on the grid at the moment, but an entire second clear though on Fred Dude. We could see an improvement here from the Belgian. I don't think it's going to be that at all. It's a long way down. Seeming to suffer here ever so slightly for Starscream Enterprise. The More Than Pink boys, or they've been racing these More Than Pink liveries. I think it's in support. Is this support of breast cancer? Is that liver cancer? I'll have to check that out. But certainly no laughing matter. Even though I managed to laugh at it anyways. Sorry. We have Bear on a provisional pole still. The Indonesian looking very good here. A 10th clear of Rotary who scrapes the wall not to get in the way through the S's here on the outlap. Farron just joining us, but not picking up damage though, Rotary, and that is all important. Down towards the chicane. Certainly one of those death chicanes that are deadly indeed. Things can go very wrong, and Bear improves by a 10th and a half. Down on a 131 dead. Hashtag real burp. And it's a very good time for the Indonesian. I think the other ones are going to struggle. Rotary looking strong so far in the GTR. But Joe of the Fire just 0.03 of a second behind. That looked like a purple first sector for Rotary there. We're going to follow that lap with interest. And that's James leaving the pits. Get a bit of a tow. Oh, James does a good job of finding somewhere to get out of the way before the following sweeping S's here. The tunnel, which is flat, but there isn't necessarily space for two cars going flat out through there, and that is one of the things on these very fast corners makes for very, very difficult stuff when it comes to overtaking. There almost gets airborne through the chicane. Has quite a bit of a drift on the exit. And now around the final corner, what's it going to be for Rotary here? It's not going to be a pole time, it's not even going to be an improvement. 8/10 down on personal best. And we're going to look with Joe off the fire. 7/10 down on personal best as well. As we are closing in on the final 2 minutes of qualifying here. Fred Dude about to begin a flying lap, 4th on the grid provisionally. And then we've got James 5th, GTO 6th, and Farron just having gotten on track in that 91 911 RSR, and how good it is to see one of the RSRs here in the NES again. Very good to see actually that the AM boys are by no means actually completely out of it. You see here James just James just over a second off of Wirebear's pole time. Could still be room for improvement, but only a 10th behind Fred Dude, so they're certainly close. But though James picking up a half a second penalty, that's going to ruin that lap. And not only that lap, that's probably actually going to ruin the next lap as well. And with a minute left, oh, that could be it for this qualifying session for James 44. See GTO, we haven't had too much of a look at how things are going for the Hyundai. And then it's Farron, as mentioned before, in the 911. Which also could be having a bit of a tough time around here. It's not necessarily known as the most top speedy of machines. A slight kiss of the wall there on the inside, down towards the chicane. Heavy braking. Kicking off a good line there. Now this is the final lap. Oh, and that's Wirebear getting caught up behind GTO. Making contact with the wall. A bit of a shame that we don't have the replay here for qualifying. Would have been very interesting to see what actually happened here. Rotary though on a flyer. And what's it gonna be? 31? Oh, not an improvement. Down by a second. Joe off the fire. Next one up, I think. And there is an improvement from the witty professor, although it's not enough. 0.003 of a second off of row 1. So Rotary keeps that second spot on the grid. Now Fred Dude on an outlap. That's not gonna be... It is indeed a combined grid, Martin. Fred Dude 4th, James here 5th, GTO 6th, Farron is 7th, and then coming up, it is the LMP qualifying section. I cracked a cold cola, to be fair, but it's canned. It's an unmistakable sound indeed. Wirebear though, the Indonesian, taking pole position for the first time this season. With a very strong showing here, improving several times over the course of the 10-minute session. And that paved the way for pole position in front of the GTR driven by Rotary, an AM car on row 1. That's very impressive, very good stuff from Rotary indeed. And then the aforementioned Joe of the Fire heads off row 2 of the GTs with Fred Dude, championship rival, the Duelant, right behind in 4th place. And we'll be having James, 44, in 5th, and GTO behind that. And now just a minute to go. The GT's getting called off track now. And so it's time for the LMPs to get on track. Indeed, we have Sailor, the Norwegian, who was fastest in practice in the non-hybrid Audi R18. Also expected to do very well at the final round at the Circuit de la Sarre. We'll have to see about that. The round will indeed get a custom BOP. And well, good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone tuning in here. We're right at the end of the GT qualifying session. We're just about 10 seconds away from beginning the LMP qualifying session. We have both splits running the same lobby here tonight because it was possible. We have an actual race director, I guess, in Tetsu. We could actually have because Apple is of course racing, so we have an actual race director, I think, in Tetsu. Yeah, I'm sorry for all of that. Well, I did say something about it isn't over till the big engine screams. Certainly was screaming there. We have Fred Dude still on track. That's going to be providing the LMP drivers with a bit of a yellow flag as they get down towards the hairpin. I'm guessing he's off to do some a break in the ways of nature, probably. And so with that said, Maverick, Sailor, Orama, and Wake starting their first flyers. And further on down we've got Sokyo, the man formerly known as Apple. Would expect the Peugeot 908 to do well, partly because of its powerful diesel engine, partly because of its aerodynamic design. A very well-designed car indeed. Takes much of its basis from the Peugeot 905 and was actually built not on top of that base, but they used a lot of the knowledge they derived with that old project for the 908, and of course because of its very aerodynamic green color. We have Maverick just scraping the wall on the way down to the chicane. That Tomahawk is a wide boy indeed, and that is certainly not going to make it easier passing traffic around here. Too much space to begin with in the first place. Maverick instantly beaten by Sailor, who was fastest in practice, should I mention. Yet again, he's living up to that. Orama goes in here with a very nice opening time as well, in the 17s. And the Rebellion TSO 30. Seem to get a good exit from the chicane, and I would actually expect the TSO 30 to be able to be competitive here. Should have decent top speed. And coupled with that, should we say, light hybrid drive system that it also has. And plus a very good fuel economy as well. Orama looking to improve, though, through the second sector. Not by enough to grab pole. I think we've actually had quite an improvement here from Sailor as well. It's now clear by half a second. We have Maverick sitting third at the moment, Sokyo in fourth, then Wake in the 919, and the Mad Greek down in sixth and last place, having, I think, not set a lap yet. It's the first flyer for the Greek. Let's see, and it's looking very good for CJ. Coming into the final sector up by half a second. Down towards the chicane, heavy in the braking zone. Manages to slice a very nice path through that chicane of death. Now the final sweeping right-hander. And up towards the finish line it is. And I think CJ's gonna go into the 16s. Nudging off and nudging down Sailor into second place by 0.6 of a second. Very impressive stuff from the Mad Greek. The VLX team will rejoice, and I think, as we see CJ improving by 0.2 immediately here through the first sector, I think the other teams will be finding it hard to beat that sort of lap time here. The Tomahawk known to be strong on its top speed and on those high-speed corners as well. Although it's also known to suffer a bit on fuel consumption, especially compared to the hybrid machines. Now CJ having lost a 10th. Oh, it's getting loose, and I think just managing to actually catch it. Now into the chicane. Aggressive through there, but managing to get the drive, I think, on the exit. But will it be an improvement? I am not quite sure. It certainly will by 3 more tenths of a second. CJ 1:16.549. That's very impressive. See here, Sailor now on an outlap. Next one to cross the line. Currently sitting third, it seems, is Sokyo. Sokyo breaks off for Wake and the incoming Orama. So it mightn't be that good of a lap in the first place. Sounded like screaming tires. And let's see Orama through the chicane. The chicane. Well, it is a shocker. Set to provide plenty of them. Orama doesn't look to be on any sort of pace this lap. It's been a tough one indeed. And Sokyo could be set to improve. Here, oh, that's a touch of the wall. Certainly just gonna slow Orama down. Into the hairpin they go. See Sokyo really gaining. Orama's going to be breaking off. Knowing that it's not an improvement upon that current lap, but Sokyo, though, I think could be in for a real flyer if the rest of the lap goes quickly and well. That is absolute airtime through the chicane. It doesn't look like the Nukeshot driver picked up a penalty on that one, and I think it could be a very good time indeed, and it is. But only just missing improving on the personal best set earlier in the sector, or in the session though. 2 minutes left. Maverick goes second fastest, just nudging down Sailor into third place. Only by 0.5 of a second, so it's close indeed between those two. We have Wake in fourth at the moment, but 0.9 of a second behind. And it's very close at the moment between Sailor, Wake, Sokyo, and Orama, I think. Orama a little bit down at the moment. Let's see, will it be two? Oh, it's gonna be very close whether Orama's gonna make the checker flag or not. Fingers crossed. Here through the chicane, exiting it very well indeed. Almost clips the inside of the wall there, but manages not to. Looked like Orama steered in just a tad early. Absolutely sending it into turn one, and now this first sector of SS sweeping back and forth. Then off the motorway they go down towards the hairpin. Braking just after the 100-meter marker. Clips the apex nicely. Carrying maybe a little too much speed. Is that the car of Sokyo in front? It's gonna provide a good deal of slipstream. That's a nice one from Orama. And now the chicane manages not to die, which is the name of the game basically through there. Now is it going to be an improvement for Orama? It certainly is by 0.7 of a second. Pushes down Wake into 5th place. So Orama, Orama, very nice lap there. Goes 4th fastest overall. We have, and Mavericks gotten pole by 16 thousandths of a second. Maverick has gotten pole in front of the Mad Greek. So VLX 1-2, they're locking out the front row of the LMP field. Sailor and Orama on row 2. And then it's going to be Wake and Sokyo row 3, I think. What a nice camera angle we've got going on here. Drivers parking up to have their lap times noted. So on board with Orama yet again. That just slight bit of extra practice here. Coming through the final right-hander. To be in that on 6th gear at this moment, I'm quite sure it is. And then it turns 1, 2, 3, and 4, all part of this series. Very fast sweeping S's, easily flat for the LMPs, or not turn 1 of course, because you brake for the first one of them. That's almost a 90-degree right-hander, although it's slightly banked, and most of those corners are actually slightly banked, which of course helps the speed you can carry around greatly indeed. A bit of wreckfest going on here around the pit lane. Oh, Wild Maverick appeared, but it was ghosted. Obviously trying to take out Sokyo. Finally succeeded. Wouldn't expect the best of build qualities from the obviously French-made Peugeot. I recall it being called Peugeot by someone on YouTube at some point. I'm shaking my head. To be fair, it was not a joke on the shittiness of modern Peugeots. Although, it would actually be a pretty good one indeed. Orama is getting hammered around. Wake is parked, and we're just waiting for everyone to be ready and on track. The 13 drivers lining up for the race today. It's gonna be an interesting one. That is for sure. Oh, and Erebus has arrived in the safety car as well. Everybody is getting ready here. Now, do we have everyone on track at the current time? We need James, and that'll be it. So quite close we are. I'll try not to kill your eyes. I'll try not to kill your ears with the impatient revving of the drivers in pit lane. And this, of course, Tetsu being our race director here. So he's the one calling the safety car shots. Sailors packed it the wrong way around. Oh, there. I hope that the drivers are getting all this carnage out their systems, and that we'll get an exceptionally clean race. Look at this. They're really loading up that patience. Poor Sokyo is getting ganged up upon by the red machines. But we shouldn't be far away from the race start by now. I think we have all the drivers on track, safety car included. And that said, I don't think it's going to be long before we get proceedings underway. I certainly hope so. So just waiting for those essential last calls of readiness. What is up, Felix? How nice it is to have you along. I think you'll be happy to see that the VLX boys have locked out front row in the LMP class with Maverick on pole, 16 thousandths of a second in front of CJ the Mad Greek. Impressive stuff indeed, and showing that the Tomahawk most certainly it's got some pace. Felix, that's a good question. Did Maverick discover some kind of crash team racing sewer cut? You know, the sewer speedway where you can jump off and cut through to cut some of the track, then jump off and get the huge turbo. Man, I haven't had the... I've been between jobs, so I haven't really had too much of an income here over the last couple of months. Now I'm back working at a new job. And I'm hoping to be able to pick up nitro fueled at some point soon. It would be a great deal of fun, I'm sure, to have around and to bring you for some streams. I know the witty professor Joe of the Fire, he's been wanting to do that for some time. What is up, Mr. Gentleman Racing? Snappy D, how nice it is to have you along as well. It's been a while since we have the pleasure of your company around here, I think. But a pleasure it is, nonetheless. I was about to say good evening, but I think in your time zone it'd be more like good afternoon. Crazy John really losing the tail, coming down towards the chicane. Oh, I'm not that bad at time zones then. I find it. At times, I admit, it's relatively simple, but then when summertime comes into the play and the fact that, for example, Greenwich Mean Time doesn't take summertime into consideration, so they have British summertime, that's GMT +1, and our summertime, Central European summertime, being GMT +2, but then some people use GMT still without the summertime. Some people use the British summertime, and it's all getting very confusing. And with that said, we have the race getting underway by now. What is up, Armored Core as well? Another good afternoon to the States. Glad I admitted being right down your alleyway, AC. Oh, I'll have a look at that. Gentlemen, I'll certainly have a look at that. So here it is. The field lined up in perfect harmony behind Erebus in the safety car. And let's hope for him to get cleanly and safely away. Although, it has to be said that by now here we're at round 7. We expect these drivers to be well familiar with the start procedure here. So those 47 laps is gonna make it just around an hour's worth of racing, as mentioned right at the beginning of the broadcast. Gonna be running tires times 3, fuel times 2, no limits on sets of tires and so on. That's free for the drivers to choose. And let's just see what the different drivers in the different classes are running. Going through the grid here, we have Maverick and Crazy John on the Super Softs. Same goes for Sailor and Orama on row 2. And then Wake and Sokyo, the last of the LMPs, all of them running the Super Soft compound. Bear Rotary also on the Super Soft. Let's see Joe off the fire. Same goes for him. Same goes for Fred Dude as well. And then rounding off the GTs, we have James and GTO. And well, that means we have an entire... Oh, we have Farron as well also on the Super Soft. So an entire field that is on the Super Softs in the end. Now, wasn't Airbus supposed to go in the pits this time around? Did I? Oh, I took display all there. So, let's see. It's going to be interesting. Souths. Souths. Yeah, exactly. There it is. The Souths. I ran Souths. Lost in the Souths. Running on the Souths. MC Dirten. I just realized that no rappers call themselves MC anymore. That's kind of ancient, I guess. So here is the safety car breaking off the LMPs, and then the GTs down towards the chicane. We're gonna hop up with the front running LMP field here. 6 machines it is, 3 rows of cars, and it's Tomahawk 1 and 2. I think it is CJ getting a poor run. Oh, that's kind of a Federal Suzuka start. Maverick, oh, and Maverick, what have you done? Losing it completely in turn 1. Mechanical damage for CJ, mechanical damage for Maverick, I'm quite sure as well. Wake has called for mechanical damage at the same time. We've seen some contact here as Bear, Rotary, Joe of the fire. Safety car is gonna be deployed here right from the off. So the safety car is coming out. And the GT field already reacting to it, slowing right down. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of things has happened with the GTs. Here in the LMPs, it's now Sailor leading Crazy John, but Crazy John picking up damage there. That's a lot of damage to the right-hand side of the car. Orama sitting in 3rd with engine damage as well. Let's see Sokyo. Did Sokyo get through cleanly? Yes, Sokyo's okay. It'll be position gained as the others are having to pit in. We saw damage as well for Tetsu. Same goes for Maverick. I think a lot of us had the idea that was coming. It all looked like they were just a little bit too excited coming into turn 1. Let's have another look at exactly what happened. Here is the start. Let's go on board with Wake in the Sugar Rush Performance 919 right by TSR. Also, that's a lot of banging and bugging around there. That's CJ. Oh, and then there's a sideways car there as well. like to get another look at this. What happens to CJ? He gets a very poor run, and that's kind of what... They go 3 wide, there hardly is really the space for that. And there isn't the space for what follows at all. A lot of calamities, and at the same time, out in front, Maverick getting it all wrong. And let's just have a further look at that situation for the second of the VLX cars. Here it comes. Into turn 1. Oh, just... Oh. Carrying that little bit too much speed, maybe cold tires. So let's see, pit lane still closed as the GTs are catching up to the LMPs. I think they're just about to make the catch actually. Wybear, the GT leader, getting safely away from our first start. Now we're gonna have a second one and another chance for them to pile up into turn 1, knowing that it is of course the problem with this layout here. The problem, it could also be seen as a cause for excitement, but it's very, very hard to overtake in that first sector generally, if not impossible. And that's exactly what we've just seen here. And CJ getting a sluggish start, getting late on the throttle. That was actually enough. Pits are going to be opening this lap. We have our race director Tetsu calling out, and that's that means that we can have the drivers implicated in that LMP pileup pitting in, getting their damage fixed, their cars fixed, and whoever wants to pit in. But I couldn't really see anyone pitting in, trading track position for fresh tires. So we're on lap 3 of the race, and mind you, that's including the warm-up lap we did. The calamity happening on lap 1. So plenty of drama right from the get-go, as expected. I think we can agree on that one. AC very much expected. And we haven't even got to the part that's dealing with traffic around here, because well, if it's difficult for the LMPs overtaking one another, it's bound also to be a little bit difficult getting past those comparatively massive GT3s. They are big cars compared to the LMPs as well. Of course, the Vision GT Tomahawks are quite a bit bigger, actually, at least in width, than the LMP1 machines here, but and of course, that could be a little bit of an advantage actually for the Audi R18 of Sailor, the Toyota TS030 of Orama, and of course the Peugeot of Sokyo and the 919 of Wake. Let's see, of course, we'd expect CJ, Orama, Wake and Maverick to pit in, and that's gonna bring Joe of the Fire pitting in as well. Let's see, no damage for the GT cars, but they're actually just choosing to go in early here. For fresh tires, I think. And of course, track position not being taken that seriously in the end here. Farron getting out in front of GTO and James, only just, but in front. And as we're seeing now, the LMPs are getting to overtake the GTs. I think that has already been done. And what we're looking at is the effective running order of the race. Sailor doing a heckin' serious job of keeping heat in the tires. And the question is Erebus going to be parking the safety car in the chicane here? Or is he going to be doing another lap to pit in? Certainly a parking here, and that means that we're going to go back to green here as we come on to lap 5 of this Tokyo South Outer Loop race, with Sailor in the Audi R18 non-hybrid machine leading the LMP field. So it's Diesel Audi in front of Diesel Peugeot, and now comes the storming hybrid of Wake, though I think Sokyo's gonna keep second place. Orama getting the better of CJ, and the Dutchman in 4th place with the VLX cars. It's all been swapped around now in 5th and 6th in class, and it's all bunched up as well here with the LMPs. Sailor quickly trying to run away with it. Maverick, CJ trying to make moves on Orama. Orama looking to defend in behind. Very much so. Out they come up the hairpin. Wake pulls along and pulls past with the Hybrid Force here as we're following Sokyo in now 3rd place. Looking for a way past now with the top speed of the diesel-driven Peugeot. Goes straight past on the Porsche 919. Straight back up into 7th, second position, that is, of course. So Sokyo, and now right behind them, it's Wake, Orama, and Crazy John. Maverick in P6. And then in the GTs, let's have a look. It's Y-Bear defending from Rotary, then Fred Dude having gotten up into 3rd place. And having gotten the better of the Witty Professor, now down into 4th. In 5th, it's Farron in the 911 RSR. All very closely bunched up together, and in behind there, I think it's James running ahead of GTO in the Hyundai. They came out of the pits right at the bottom of affairs, but on fresh tires, they'll have a little bit of a tactical advantage compared to the cars in front. Though how much it's going to mean, we're going to have to see here. Sailor, the Norwegian, though, in that Audi, in the tractor, pulling away now. Oh, that's Orama going around, I think. That it is. The Dutchman left standing still on exit of the hairpin. That's hard to see for me what actually caused Orama to lose grip. We're gonna go on board here. Might that have been the slightest of nudges, or just kind of a panic reaction to lose the rear? Maverick was a bit away behind, and Maverick has picked up damage yet again. Oh, what poor luck for VLX Maverick. Only to be rivaled within the LMPs by Orama here. Y-Bear has pulled away ever so slightly from Rotary, and Fred Dude feeling the heat from behind as Joe of the Fire is having a close look at the Belgian's rear bumper. Will be trying to get the run into the chicane, but there's not a lot of long way. There's not a lot of way to get alongside the car in front from the penultimate corner. Penultimate corner, I guess that is part of the chicane, but from the corner before. And Fred Dude holds on to 3rd place. Fred Dude having gotten very nicely away from the restart. Also, of course, taking advantage to the fact that some of the drivers did pit in indeed. Let's go back up with the LMP leader. It is now Sailor by 3.4 seconds. Sokyo getting the gap now on Wake in the 919. So we have an LMPM sitting 2nd overall. And it is none other than series organizer Sokyo 9. Doing a brilliant job so far. Taking advantage of the good top speed of the diesel non-hybrids. And that goes for both Sailor and Sokyo so far. Wake holding on to 3rd place in that Ben & Jerry's 919. Oh, almost getting wide. on exit from turn 2. Now down the ramp, they go down the hill, down towards the hairpin. Wake in this section really getting caught by CJ, the Mad Greek, who's gotten well away from the restart. And only really Orama and Maverick lost out on that occasion. We had a big pile up on the start-finish straight, more or less, as the green flag was waved. They tried to squeeze in more cars than could fit across the road. And contact was what followed, and damage for 4 of the cars. And that's left Sailor and Sokyo at the front of affairs after the restart. They've just managed to pull away very nicely indeed. Oh, Sokyo lost a whole lot of time there into the chicane. Misses the apex as well. I'd like to see if it's possible to actually have a look at what happened. Just braking early, no, not at all. The touch of the barrier, but there's no damage to the car. That's the most important bit. But of course it's lost Sokyo some time to Sailor, who's now packing a lead of 4.5 seconds. And at the same time, Wake and CJ beginning to queue up behind the Peugeot here, but they're gonna be having a tough time, I'm sure, getting past due to the very, very high top speed. That goes especially for CJ. You would expect the 919 maybe to be able to use that hybrid deployment and combined with the slipstream to actually pick up the pace. We have to see on that. Look how he's losing out. When they're nearing top speed, that Peugeot just pulls away big time. And interesting to see a track where there's such a strong dynamic between the two parts of the LMP field, the hybrids and the non-hybrids. Now we've only got 2 hybrids racing today, the TSO 30, which is kind of a first generation hybrid, and the Porsche 919, which is more, say so, a second generation one here. Now back with the GTs, Y-Bear has picked up a small penalty, but is still holding on to it. Joe of the Fire having gotten past here on Fred Dude by now. So the pass having been made before our replays being able to actually have a glimpse of it. That was... Oh, that's Sailor already getting up and passed through on the GT field. It's looking to be a close scrap still for 3rd in class, as from Joe of the Fire up to Rotary there's 2.5 seconds. Fred Dude lost a little bit of time there, and here is an onboard view with Sokyo as he comes up to pass. The GT machines in front, gets a little nervy there, gets a little twitchy, and now dives to that inside, gets through cleanly there. Now next car up is Joe of the Fire. The 2 Nukeshot machines, they should be communicating. They certainly look like they are, and Wake and CJ following right along there. Seems like the GT drivers are doing a pretty good job of getting out of the way, to be honest, and they need to as well. It all looks to be going very well for Sailor out in the lead. Still chasing his first NES win. So we're on to lap 11 by now. It's all looking very good. 20 minutes of racing has gone by. Of course, we did lose a little time to that first safety car period. Now look here behind, because Wake and CJ getting very close to one another by now. Let's have a look from the wang cam of the Porsche 919 here. Through the tunnel they go. Having to go hugely defensive. Oh, and there's a bit of a squeeze. In the end, CJ goes right past and keeps the Tomahawk alive through the following corner. It was very, very, very tight indeed. Here we're on board with CJ to CJ. It wasn't that tight of a squeeze, but there wasn't a lot of space left on the outside. And the Greeks certainly doing a good job. to go through there insistently. And is now free to chase down Sokyo out in front. Oh, as they both make contact with the outside wall that was both CJ and Wake. Let's see, CJ. Wake catching some damage from that one. And that's quite a lot of it, actually. That's front aero and left front suspension as well for Wake. So that's suboptimal to say the least. Orama. Damage free running yet again, and same goes for Maverick, but they are both quite a bit of way down. Class leader Sailor is pushing the advantage and is now gaining up to almost 6 seconds. And behind here, Crazy John looks to be closing the gap up to Sokyo in second. That's a bit of a mistake from Sokyo. Through on there, let's see. It's gonna give us the entire start and finish straight. Well, it's not that long. Let's just have a look at what happened into turn 1. As the Peugeot looked to be going a little bit wide. Oh, just about manages not to hit the wall. And CJ just made further gains here as Fred Dude has picked up some engine damage. There it is. Alongside Rotary and Farron as well. Oh, just about not able to catch what happened, but Fred Dude was the wrong way around there. Has picked up engine damage. Farron here having picked up some aero damage. And that's GTO clear of it. Now let's see Rotary, who's in the pits now, getting the GTR fixed. That must have been another incident. And just in breaking news, the safety car has been deployed yet again. We're on lap 12 of 47. So a quarter of the way through the race. And yet another safety car deployment happening. Best of luck, Felix. Best of luck. I hope it goes well. We'll keep fingers crossed. And by now I think it's clear that in this race pretty much anything can happen in the end. We've had a big incident with the LMPs early on. Now we've had another big incident for the GTs as well. That's gonna bunch the entire field right back up together as the LMPs are already out behind the safety car here. And let's see, the GTs is now Joe of the Fire, having climbed back up into second place. And with that damage for Fred Dude, well, that's of course going to be aiding the Arrows, Aston Martin, along the way big time. And who is that caught up there? That's Maverick, I think. If I'm not completely mistaken, it is Maverick, who's 6th and last in the LMP class at the moment. Was catching traffic as the safety car was deployed. Let's see further down here. We have James Maverick. Did Maverick just pick up more damage there? Oh, certainly not. Would have been a big shame. Farron was poor off in that situation. Haven't got it fixed yet. And the same goes for Fred Dude, still running around. And having to do another lap. I think the pit lane is yet to be opened. The pit lane is indeed yet to be opened. Certainly another interesting turn of events in this proving to be very unpredictable race. I called it already from the start of affairs that it was going to be so. It certainly is going to be so. We're on board with the rare wang cam from the safety car, with the field bunching up behind. And the question is, we're waiting for the field to bunch up before the pit opens, as to minimize the sort of the randomness, I guess, of the entire safety car procedure. And race control letting us know pit lanes will be open the next time the field goes by. I'm sure that's going to be more than welcome for a couple of the GT drivers finally to be able to go in and get that damage fixed. Most of all, that's going to be for Fred Dude. Was really suffering. He's beginning to catch up to the field by now through the SS here under the tunnel. Bit of track history, of course. These Tokyo highway, Tokyo expressway tracks are some of the least fictional tracks in the world of GT sport, as they are based on real-world highways in and around Tokyo, where they're actually pretty much a realistic representation of some of these highways. Also known from the Shuto Revival project in Assetto Corsa and the entire Wangan Street racing culture that derives from Japan. And it certainly makes for interesting racing every time the Nukeshot Endurance Series visits Tokyo. I remember doing a race, and that was last season, season 4, the Tokyo race in the LMPs, where I had 8 visits to the pits in the course of an hour. And of course, I wasn't anywhere near the front runners in that race. It was absolutely terrible for me. So I know everything about it being a tough one at times. Having tried it myself to have tough luck here in Tokyo. See Fred Dude is beginning to catch up. He has certainly caught up, and that means with the opening pit lanes here as we come down towards the hairpin, with the pit lane being situated right in the middle of the track, it's indeed a little bit strange. But here we'll see, I think, at least Farron, Rotary, and Fred Dude breaking off into the pits. And now at this time, 15 laps in, we could be seeing most of the field actually pitting in. I think it's pretty much all the LMPs. It is all the LMPs pitting in for what will indeed be more or less a free pit stop. But we do also see a number of the GTs choosing not to stop, and that's certainly interesting. I mean, Wirebear, James, and Rotary not going in there. I'd expect them to see some stops, but okay. They're running for a one-stop strategy that'll have him stopping in, well, would that be 10 laps or so? That would make sense. So here we have the LMPs passing by the GTs yet again. And this time around, well, yet again, we've had another shake-up in standings here. Sokyo now leading on completely fresh rubber. Question is, did Sokyo go in just for tires and using that to get the jump on the rest of the field, knowing that the Peugeot is very fuel efficient as well with the diesel engine and a big fuel tank? So it's not about the fuel efficiency, of course, only, but also about the fact that it has a bigger fuel tank, I think, than at least some of the hybrids, knowing that the Tomahawks are suffering at these. We got the end this lap, and there that happened, and we're gonna have another restart. Let's see if we can get him safely off the line this time around. We're gonna go on board with TSR Wake, not from the Wayne cam, because that makes very little sense indeed. And now, just look at Wake here. It's just almost already contact, and that was between Wake and Sailor, I think. Wake didn't pick up any damage from that one. We got straight past Sailor and Maverick here into turn one. Oh, that was CJ almost getting wiped, but both CJ and Orama getting safely through in that situation. Here is Sailor also not picking up damage. That's very nice to see. Now with the GTs, it also seems they've gotten cleanly off the line. I say that, and someone... Oh, that's of course the safety car at the back of affairs. A lot of action here down towards the hairpin with Y-Bear leading James, Rotary, and GTO. And I think that's the Joe of the Fire and Fred do it at the end here. Oh, that's GTO making contact to the wall, and Y-Bear getting way wide as well. And James subsequently taking the lead in that situation here. On board with James we are. What exactly happened? Y-Bear just went wide. GTO was on the inside. And James came out on top. We're gonna go just for another look at that situation, because that certainly was interesting here. Y-Bear just with a charge. We're gonna wait a second, I think. So we have Y-Bear and Rotary almost side by side. But Rotary getting out of that one on top. Here's GTO in 10th place. And just for another look at the situation before, from GTO's perspective, that's a massive Ricardo-esque lunge, and choosing just to send it into the wall instead of, I think, sending it into the side of James's car. So that's oh, that's Sokyo getting passed by Crazy John in the hairpin. Very much indeed is... Oh, Sokyo way outbraking himself, and Crazy John slipping in through on the cutback up into the race lead. And just as we say that, Sokyo's got him right back past again. Too wide. And then before the tunnel, the move is made. Sokyo is keeping a hold of that lead position. It's Orama third, Wake fourth, Sailor up into fifth. And then Maverick in P6, as all the LMPs are still running this time around. It's getting spread out ever so slightly here. Now the Arrows Racing Aston Martin of James 44 leading the GT field in front of fellow AM driver Rotary in the Calsonic GTR. We've got Y-Bear, the Indonesian P3 at the moment, in front of Joe of the Fire, who's got Fred Dude for company behind, and then GTO 12th at the moment. Overall, Farron seems to have had some kind of issue, at least being some way back on the rest of affairs. And here are the lead LMP battles still going on between Sokyo, Crazy John, and Orama, still also in the mix there. Actually getting a very good run on the Mad Greek to go in towards the tunnel. That might actually materialize into some kind of move, although it seems the TSO 30 just lacking that little bit of top speed to really go up against the Tomahawk. on those long straight bits, but seems to be a lot faster through the corners. And on accident here, sending it into the chicane. Forced to make a big cut as CJ really shut the door. Let's have another look. On board we are here with Orama. Does just defend his position. CJ and Orama looking for it aggressively. Not too aggressively, I'd say, but forced to take the jumpy way across the curb, across the chicane as well. Now Sailor, who was leading for so long, the Norwegian, find themselves in 5th place. That's a tough one. Getting rid of the last bit of penalty. There was a little bit of shortcut penalty having been picked up, I think, at some point. Now Rotary is passed on James, and well clear as well. And Rotary really defending as well from Wybear, as it's yet again stretching out a bit for the GT. Somebody's been... Was that the safety car? No, that's Farron, of course. The first... Is that the safety car? No, that's Farron. Sorry, Farron. On board with Sokyo leading the LMPs as we're on to lap 21. Nearing the halfway distance. It's looking quite good at the moment for Nukeshot Motorsports. Certainly in the mix in both categories. Getting the safe pass here on the 911. Farron, heavy braking into the hairpin. Hugging that apex. Getting a nice exit, it seems, as well this time around. It's a bit of a situation between Sokyo and Crazy John. Almost getting a touch to the rear end of the Greek's car in front. Now, what's happened to Crazy John here? Oh, what's happened to Crazy John? It's been a pit stop. And there was damage. There was damage. Both front suspensions. And the splitter as well. It was a quick fix. But it's put Crazy John right at the back of the LMP field yet again. And with no safety car around. Quite some catching up to do. Coming up to lap the car of Farron. That's going to cost some time through the chicane. Unable to pass before the exit there. Does so safely in the end. We have Sokyo leading Orama by 1.5 seconds. And then Wake. Oh, trying to get past on GTO. Oh, and then comes Sailor trying to get the opportunistic pass done. I don't think it was really possible. Wang cam time it is, I think not, because Sailor's gonna send it right to the outside. And the cutback certainly isn't gonna work on the 919. A bit of a blink from Sailor. Look at the difference in acceleration. And then look how the RA team comes back at its hybrid counterpart. The R18, and right past goes Sailor up into 3rd place. That is very nice stuff. Oh, that's engine damage for James. And for Sailor as well. Oh no, oh no. It's a bit of a scrub there. Then, oh, that's a big shunt. I'm sure that's gonna call out the safety car yet again. It very well could in the end. Where is James and all of this Orama pitting in now? No damage for Orama, that's a regular pit stop. Let's see Joe of the Fire pitting as well. Joe also picked up some damage from there, but hasn't called it, I think. Maybe wants the race just to go on here. We're on lap 21 for the GTs, of course. So that's Joe of the Fire rejoining. James in the pits as well now, getting the last of that damage fixed and rejoining with a full tank of fuel as well. We still haven't heard anything about the safety car this time around, so it doesn't really look like the safety car is going to be brung out this time around. Going to be keep on racing here. Oh, and how is Sokyo now with a 10-second gap? Wake is up into second, then Orama, Sailor, Crazy John, and Maverick. That's now Sokyo in a very good position indeed. Orama with a small penalty there, and then Sailor cutting through traffic. But half a minute down. That's a lot of time to make up after that pit stop. Although still in front of both Crazy John and Maverick by 4 seconds, the Norwegian could be in a good position in the end. With fresh tires and a brimp tank. And then to catch up on what's going on in the GTs here as leader Rotary is getting passed into the corner leading down to the chicanes there. Lost quite a bit of time. Well, it's Rotary in the GTR leading Wirebear, and then GTO in third at the moment. Fred Dude is fourth, Farron is fifth, then Joe of the Fire and James. That's the current standings. Joe of the Fire chasing down Farron in front in the 911 RSR. And is that Fred Dude right in front of the two? It certainly is. So still a bit of a battle here. Some like screechy tires for from the BMW of Fred Dude. And Joe of the Fire sweeping in, trying to get the inside. He's already got the nose in front of Farron, and the move has been done. Moving up the order now, chasing championship rival Fred Dude. And that is at the moment the battle for fourth place in class. Now back up with LMP leader Sokyo, who's now gaining on Wake in second place. What happened to Orama, who looks to be up there? Question is, Wake have a tank of fuel left? And of course they're covering distance on the safety car, where they will be saving fuel compared to how much they'll be using under race pressure, and that means quite a lot actually to the strategy in the end. Of course tires can be saved, fuel can be saved as well, but it's on a track like this, it tends to be costly. In another dimension, not having full power. It's quite static between Orama and Wake at the moment. Sokyo 12 seconds up the road. And it's all of a sudden looking really good for Nukeshot Motorsports. Oh, that's James plowing on into the wall in the chicane. Oh, just got hitboxed by the wall, sticking out a little further than you'd expect it to. That's engine damage for James. And that's not enough to bring out the safety car. You need to have more than one car involved. Now those two LMPs following will be very happy that the car goes down. You're in GT Sport. Anywhere where they didn't, it would be very, very, very poor luck indeed. Sailor gets some pass cleanly. CJ gets some pass there. I think that is CJ, and here Maverick. Some further 6 seconds down. Maverick's gonna be passing the stricken Aston as well in a moment, I think. Into the hairpin, and that's where the pit lane is. And that's all that James wants to see at the moment. Having been up there, having actually led the class at some point, that goes to show how much it can change the Tokyo races. It's just always chaotic. Sokyo holding on to the advantage, but having lost a little bit of it actually. It's now down to 10.5 seconds, but of course it does swing a little up and down. And every time they get to the back straight, the Peugeot gains a good amount of time, of course. A little bit lost on exit of these slow corners. That looks like the Peugeot of Sokyo pitting in. And that indeed it is very low on fuel by now. So no other way really. Fresh tires. And it's gonna be fuel as well. There's contact in behind there. Oh, that's a big calamity between Orama, Wake. Who's that Fred dude? And Sailor having picked up damage, I think. No, Sailor's fine in third place. That's just Wake this time around. Cannot be just Wake. I think some of the GTs must have picked up something as well in that situation. Let's go on board. Here we are with Wake. See you, GSR Wake. That was a very good move actually. And then just nowhere to go in that situation, and into the hairpin they go. A little bit weavy about, and there's the contact. Both Orama and Wake getting collected. And a big chunk of cars. Mavericks in for a stop as well. Now Rotary is ahead by 23 seconds of Fred Dude, Joe of the Fire, and GTO all in a bunch here. And Joe is good on damage. Let's see Fred Dude. Fred Dude picked up some aero damage to the front, and Joe of the Fire is right on through on the start-finish straight. And there was nothing to do there, Fred Dude. Of course, aero damage really going to be losing out on speed. Here as there is one of the VLX cars trying to get through here. Oh, that's just about happening. But only just. So, after the pit stop of Sokyo, we're now having Orama taking over the race lead. Orama still on a pretty good pace and with a pretty good amount of fuel left. 8.5 seconds up on Sailor. So another 5 seconds up on Crazy John, and then Sokyo, who's in fourth, down by 16 seconds. But with a full tank of fuel, with a fresh set of tires, and as we are way past the half the race gone marker by now, it'll be interesting to see if Sokyo can get anything out of these final just under 20 laps of racing. Orama with a bit of a touch to the outside wall, but nothing picked up for the Dutchman. Although it seems that Orama is bleeding time down to Sailor. The Norwegian has been going so strong for all sessions at this race. Does really look to have the pace. CJ in behind, seeming to suffer ever so slightly. Who was that pitting in? That was one of the GTs. That's Rotary from the GT lead. As we have a retirement from James. That's Rotary back out. Actually hanging on to the lead, I think. Only just. As that's Maverick and Joe of the Fire. Right on the tail. And here is Joe of the Fire looking for it. Maybe, I think that's gonna be a send from the Witty Professor. No, just backing out. But forcing Rotary maybe to compromise the run down towards the chicane. No, well defended from the GTR. Getting a very good line though. There's a little bit of a tap between the two, though not enough to cause any damage, luckily. And it is very close between the two at the moment here. Orama is getting caught up to by Sailor at the moment. That's one of the VLX machines. Did not see who it was. It's Maverick. Also getting past on the two GT leaders. Still locked in a two-way fight with Y-Bear not too far back in third. We're on board with the Wang Cam from the Calsonic GTR of Rotary. Joe of the Fire having a look and getting very close in from the slipstream there, though not close enough. And here into the chicane. Oh, Joe of the Fire gets a huge slide on, manages to correct it, but really loses out. Look at that time lost out from the Witty Professor. Let's just have another look here, breaking into the chicane. Oh, sliding heavily as the rear steps out. In the first part of it, just managed to keep it under control, but that's only just for Joe of the Fire. So our two class top threes at the moment, Orama, Sailor, and Sokyo in the LMPs. And then with Rotary, Joe of the Fire, and Y-Bear rounding off the podium in the GTs at the moment. And then of course there's the whole Pro-Am thing. Well, we've got Sailor leading the LMP Pros actually at the moment, because we have AMs in first and third. And we've got an AM leading the GTs actually as well. And it's all very close in the end here, it has to be said. Sailor still making some very good gains. 3.7 seconds now. Also with the fastest lap currently, and it's a purple sector 2. So if the final sector is up to that mark, it's going to be a new fastest lap as well. For Sailor, all very orderly. I think getting held up though a little bit here by Fred Dude, and that might compromise that fastest lap in the end. Let's see here, 16. Oh, it's not 3/10 down. That certainly was that final corner held up by Fred Dude. And by now we're closing in on the last 10 laps of racing, which means the absolute final part of affairs here. Looking at it around just under 20 minutes to go by now. Sokyo still in third place. Interesting pit. Orama, I think, is going to need a pit stop before the end here. Although it's not going to be a long one, it's going to be enough to send Sailor past. I think it's going to be enough to send Sokyo past as well. See, Sailor should be good on both tires and fuel to the end of the race. think the same goes for Sokyo. Let's just have a look to be sure. That's very much the case for Sokyo. Could even have overfueled a little bit. Coming up to pass Fred Dude through the chicane. And then another 8 seconds down to Wake. Now got Crazy John for company right in behind here on board with the Mad Greek P5 in the LMPs. That's Wake trying to defend, I think, just waving about instead. CJ almost picking up damage as a result. I think we'd like to see just a second look at that. Getting a little bit swerved here on board with Wake. Trying to close the door, but also trying to catch the racing line, of course. A little bit of a naughty move from the Belgian. And it was effectless in the end as well, as CJ just came right past. Anyways, here Fred Dude getting a bit in the way of Wake CU there. I keep calling him CU. Of course, the old tag before it was TSR Wake. There's Orama still hanging on to 4 seconds of advantage. With 12 more laps to go, of course. A new fastest lap for Maverick, who's in 6th place at the moment. So that's some sort of consolidation for the VLX boys, at least. Of course, Crazy John just moving up to 4th place, chasing down Sokyo now, but it's still a 4-second advantage. What is up, Mika? Of course, cheering for friend and fellow Dutchman and teammate. Orama still leading. But as I mentioned before, I think that Orama's going to be needing... Oh yeah, Orama's very much going to be needing a final pit stop, which is going to hand over the lead to Sailor in the tractor. The diesel tractor. Yes, Martin. That is... and Mika, yeah, there should still also be, there should be both an overall and separate split results as well. Here in goes Orama for a final stop. Fresh tires and fuel for about 10 laps. That's not too much fuel needed now. Let's see, is Orama going to be able to get out in front of Sokyo? Oh, it's all going to be very close, but Orama is actually clear out ahead of the Peugeot of Sokyo. Now, of course, if you like what we do here on Half the Race Gone with the Nukeshot Endurance Series, with any of our other GT Sport endeavors, or indeed if we do what we do with iRacing, leave us a like if you want to see more. Hit that subscribe button. Now, it's just over a second between these two. It's very close indeed. And of course, any winner should be in for some frikantel broodjes. Although Sokyo seems to be gaining ever so slightly. What's up, AC? Was it the house law says no subscriptions to YT channels or what? HTRG just too dank. Or is it just too dumb? Could be both. Watching CJ at the moment trying to hunt down Sokyo in front, but having a tough time. Work seems to be cut out for the Mad Greek. Wake another 3.5 seconds down. And then Maverick. Here Joe off the fire, and Y-Bear is pitting in on this lap. That's very tired rubber. And here Y-Bear, same situation, plus a little bit of damage. Good stuff, Mika. Getting closer. Oh, Fred Dude pitting in as well. So a Fred Dude in with engine damage. And that's why on pit entry, well, if Fred Dude wasn't planning a pit stop, timing couldn't really be any better with regards to not really losing too much time. Nevertheless, some poor luck on display for Fred Dude, seemingly having lost the car into the final corner. And that's of course left Joe off the fire, who's got a big moment through the chicane there as well. Don't worry, Mika, it only gets better. It is good to hear that you're finding it enjoyable after the run of trouble you had actually getting it to work on your PC. That required some resolution. And you got through it, and now able to enjoy the pleasures of iRacing. Now, Rotary is still leading and is hanging on to a 15.5 second gap with what's probably going to be around 10 more laps to race. And that's not even 10 more laps to race. That's 7-8 more laps to race for Rotary. Very good position to be in for the Brit. With Nukeshot Motorsports second and third. Oh, that's Sailor, of course. Then Orama. Orama having actually picked up a lot of time. Sokyo, oh, Sokyo having had a moment. And Sokyo having picked up damage as well. Both front suspensions and that front splitter. And that might be handing third to CJ. He's really been fighting through it with a lot of trouble in the end. Here's Sokyo bleeding time down towards the chicane. I think the Nukeshot driver here is going to be a sitting duck. What for so long looked like a podium finish for Sokyo mightn't be so in the end. What a shame if it is. Mika, we might be looking at a combined split for the rest of the season. Compared to, oh, and that's Sokyo trying to defend, and they end up making a little bit of contact between one another. So we're on board with the Nukeshot driver here. CJ up behind into turn one, trying to get past. And that's certainly big old contact twice as well. Sokyo with the damage really getting hammered along, and CJ forced to pin in as well. And in turn, in the end, that's handed over third place to TSR Wake in the 919, who's been nowhere near on pace today. It's really been suffering on a track with so much need for top speed. And in turn, I think that's settled. I shouldn't say too much too early, of course. But for now, it seems to have settled the running order at top the LMP field. Rotary has lost a little time to Joe off the fire, but it's nothing serious. Still around 14 seconds of advantage. And with that, a race here tonight that has never really settled. And every time I had the feeling that, oh, now it's beginning to settle, it's been shaken up It's been shaken to the ground. Sailor, 5-second gap to Orama. Orama in a very good position to pick up a podium here from Tokyo. That would certainly be an impressive drive and an impressive result as well. Or is that CJ or Maverick in behind? I think that's Maverick in P6, that it is. And then still Rotary, Joe of the Fire and Ybear. Ybear 6.5 seconds down on Joe of the Fire. Then Fred Dude in 4th. Farron is in 5th in the 911 RSR. And then in 6th in the GTs. It's GTO in the hybrid, or in the Hyundai. In the Hyundai Genesis. Oh, safety car's been deployed. And what has just happened? Engine damage for Rotary. Let's just see if there's something we could do to get a look at what just happened. Here it is. So Rotary. Oh, that's Maverick having gone off and coming across the track to collect the GT leader and deploying the safety car here with only laps left of the race. And that's going to bring together the entire field. And the question is, might we see the race actually crossing the line behind the safety car? Because we don't have many laps left for them to bunch up. Pit stops to be taken and all that. We'll have to see. Certainly drama here at the end of affairs. We're gonna have another look at what happened. So there's the spin from Maverick. Already having picked up quite a bit of damage, struggling to get the car across, and then just failing to notice Rotary coming along. What poor luck that is. Let's just try to have the onboard view here from Rotary's GTR. He's been taking it kind of easy and then ghosting out all of a sudden, and there's just nothing Rotary could have done about that whatsoever. At no fault. And it's of course a racing incident. But what poor luck in the end it is. And so we have Sailor all of a sudden accompanied closely by Orama, Wake, Crazy John, Sokyo and Maverick makes up the LMP running order. But the question is, how is that going to change? Well, it's not going to be for the LMPs, I think, too much at least. But for the GTs, we could be looking at kind of almost want the race to finish on the safety car in order for Rotary to be able to keep that lead position. It would be a very deserved win. It would be sad to see it lost to a late safety car deployment. And I know I'm not one to be partial, but yeah, I really think this one is it's such a big shame. What a heartbreaker indeed. Just another look at the oh, it's a heart crushing moment. Pits open up next time by. It's going to be on lap 45. That's going to be with 3 laps left. In turn, we could be looking at a single more lap, an extra lap of running. could have the... would need the field to bunch up after the pit stops as well. Was that an early pit stop from GTO? Nope, that it most certainly wasn't. Mentioned with the pits open this time around, it's going to be interesting to see It's going to be interesting to see that the rotary actually goes for it. Of course, the GTs doesn't necessarily know just how short of a time that's remaining, and they're in the race with just 3 more laps left. The pits are of course open. Really expecting to see any of the LMP leaders pitting in. Of course, the restart might present an opportunity to Wake to get past. I wouldn't expect him really to be able to hold it. Of course, Maverick is going to be pitting in, and then Rotary as well. And here comes that safe overtaking zone for the LMPs. Safety car is going to be in this lap as well. Let's see what they make of it this time around. AC, it's gonna be interesting. Look at the safety car completing 10 laps. 2 to go at the line. So the safety car is gonna be breaking off here. Sailor is gonna be bunching up the field. We're going to be rounding the final corner and off we're going to go. And this diesel R18 has the company of 2 hybrid machines right behind. And it's all now bunched up together. And it's up for grabs over the final 2 laps as they're back to green with 2 laps remaining. It's Salo Orama and it's Wake Orama pushing forward into turn 1. Wake trying to get the run as well. Solid status quo so far. Joe of the Fire having inherited the GT lead. And now Orama having a look to the outside down towards the hairpin. What's it gonna be? Orama, Sailor. I think Sailor's gonna keep a hold of the lead. Oh, the Norwegian gets a bit of a slide on. And CJ now back on it against Wake. Wake using the hybrid system of the 919 to get a run here, getting a very good run on Orama as well. It's all very close. And for the GTs, Joe of the Fire is running away with it, it seems. There's a battle there, and Rotary is really gaining position. Fred Dude is up into second, and Rotary is now battling for it. Will he go on around in the GTR? Back up into second position. That is incredible stuff. First of all, battling with Y-Bear in there, helping to hold up the Indonesian as well. In the N6, through goes Rotary. Like some poetic justice it is. And the car taken out so late by this poor luck has been able to gain positions here on the penultimate lap. Now here it's Orama and Sailor going for it on the final lap. Down towards the hairpin they go. Wang Cam time it is. From the Audi of Sailor going to the outside. Orama on the inside. Orama's passed. And Orama has the hybrid system here. Now let's see. What's it gonna be? I don't think the Norwegian's gonna budge here at all. Because in turn this is gonna become the inside at the end of all this tunnel work. And are they gonna be able to go too wide flat? Well, it isn't too wide anymore. Sailors ahead. Sailors looking to go to offensive. Oh, and that's Sokyo hitting the wall and behind. And here comes the move for Orama. Down towards the chicane. And the Dutchman takes the lead. Oh, then on the final lap. That's impressive stuff. And Sokyo through as well. And here comes Wake, the Belgian. This is going to be third for him. I think not. Sailor just holding on to it. Although it's not finished yet. With Joe of the Fire leading home. Rotary and then Y-Bear. And there's a big battle in behind. Fred Dude, I think, has picked up some damage. We've got GTO getting past. And it's all bunching up here as well. And I think it's gonna be Joe of the Fire, it is. Picking up the GT win in front of Rotary. And then the second Nukeshot GT car finishing in third there in class. Impressive stuff, and we're just gonna have a final look. Another look on board here with Orama getting the run down towards the chicane. And there's really nothing to do there. For Sailor, what heartbreak. Then that poor exit. Open up the door. Sokyo just a little dirty there, a little naughty on the inside. There was a little bit of contact, but I think it could have been Sailor turning in to the Peugeot as well. And that means all three Nukeshot cars are on the podium. And that was quite the finish. That was quite the finish indeed. We're gonna go on to Bouncy Heads for a short moment, and we're gonna join the NES Pro party, which hopefully, do we have anybody? Do we have everyone in this party actually? Very close. That's good to hear. What a race!
Oh,
what an insane race! I think this could take the prize for the most insane race we've had in the history of the NES.
That's how we do it in Tokyo.
That is very much in the style of Tokyo, indeed. Let's start out with the GT podium, Joe of the Fire.
Hello.
This one required all of your wits to make it through today, I suppose. What's your thoughts on this race?
I'd say it's just mad. Basically. It came down to the safety cars in a way, I suppose. That closed up the gap between me and Rotary for about 13 seconds.
Erebus, you can leave the pit.
Yeah, I just kept going the best I could and tried to make the most of carrying on with the damage I had early on. There's a bit of lag which we'll have a look at through the replays, see if there's anything that needs to be done. But overall, yeah, good result.
Well, indeed. Indeed it was, Matt. I think it's a good way to sum it up. Do we have Rotary with us here?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Rotary. Heartbreak to see you lose out on a class win on the penultimate lap like that, or what it was 2 laps ago, or whatever. It must feel terrible. Although, what a return to grab second after that restart. I didn't catch too much of it. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, I stuck really close with the cars ahead and got a good launch off the restart. It might be a bit close with penalties actually, so yeah. And then Bear and Fred started fighting. I just made the most of that and got to second.
Well, good stuff, good opportunistic stuff, and great stuff, making the best of a tough situation on that restart. I'm really impressed, I have to say. I don't expect us to have Wyber along because he's usually
it's early morning for him.
Exactly, it's like shit early morning, and the entire family is asleep over in Indonesia. But good on your Wyber to grab that final podium spots. Let's go talk to the LMP podium finishers. Do we have a Rama with us?
Yep.
Rama, what a win! Were you expecting that one in any way?
Not at all. Just really came by surprise.
So we had Mika in chat saying he owes you a Frikantel Broja now.
Yeah, he does.
What are your thoughts on AM drivers giving a proper whooping to the pro drivers here in this race?
It's pretty hilarious actually. Yeah, it was a great race. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's good to hear. Big congratulations on the win. Well deserved. Really nice ways. Sokyo, your chinness,
yes.
your appleness. Second place. All 3 cars on the podium. You must be a happy man today.
I know, it's a fantastic result for Nukeshot across the board today. Not particularly a circuit that we've had that good success at before, but it's only proved to be that way today. There was a time that there was a lot of crashes happening, a lot of MDs being called in the chat, so a lot of people preempted the safety car, but none happened, and that seemed to get me to the front for a while, but in the end it didn't quite work out, but nevertheless, 1-2, quite happy with that.
Well, I guess that sums it up pretty well. Did the non-hybrid Peugeot work out as expected against the hybrid machines here in Tokyo?
Absolutely. Like this possibly Fuji as well, where this particular type of car really thrives, and it was just so easy to overtake the likes of the Porsche, for example, on the straights because of that advantage. So it's interesting how the BOP works, where on certain circuits it favors non-hybrids, on others it favors the hybrids, and it's a nice dynamic that I think we have here in the series.
It's certainly good to see. Congrats on second place and congrats on the good team results today. Sokyo for Nukeshot Motorsports. Sailor, are you along with us?
He's not here.
Sailor is not here. I think Sailor must be too heartbroken to talk to us anyways, because
He won the pro split LP anyway.
he actually won the pro split anyway, so it didn't matter too much, but I think in the end he's gonna be heartbroken about that final lap nonetheless. For me, I need to rest my voice and my body before going to work early and tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And I can only say, what a race. What an insane race. Yeah. Can we have every race at Tokyo, at least from a viewing perspective?
Every race a different layout and different weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, in the rain.
The Tokyo Wangan Endurance Series would be great.
Yeah, we could make it happen.
No, but anyways, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in with us here for the Nukeshot Endurance Series. It's been a blast. I think I can honestly say it has been a blast. There were several of them on the track happening during the race that seemed to blow up a couple of cars. But that aside, it's been an interesting race. I hope you'll be joining us for next week's NES race as well. It's going to be an interesting one. And well, until that, I think all that's left to me is to say until then, take care, have fun, and bye bye.
Bye guys.
Goodbye.